Yeah, how are you?
Thank you, and we have an exciting topic for today. You know, many people are excited with artificial intelligence and robots. But if we use artificial intelligence for robots, so maybe it will make robots even smarter.
Or maybe it will create these Terminators, you know, this movie.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly, you guessed my first question. So you see, it seems, we should not, I think we should not watch, a lot of news. But, yeah, but you see, it seems we are having like a little crisis of overproduction in the global economy. So people, now most people have 2 mobile phones, and people have, maybe 2 or 3 computers. People used to have 2 cars in the family, 2 or 3 computers in the family. In the past, to have a washing machine was a little bit of a problem. Now people have washing machines, people have vacuum cleaners, people have social media, people have everything. So why do we need artificial intelligence for robots? I mean, we have everything to be happy. Are they in demand?
In one hand, this is the problem of the humanity, especially in the Western world. But this is not only the Western world. The slavery. If you know the history, then slavery is still very controversial. And when I lived in Amsterdam and I visited some museum, it was a museum dedicated to these boards, these old wooden boards. That was
boats.
Yeah, boards.
To carry slaves from Africa to America, or
it was mostly dedicated to the boards and this era of exploration and discovering new lands. And of course, on the latest floor, there was the whole space dedicated to slavery. And I remember there was a lot of controversial subjects like discussed and exposed. And in the end, there was a small screen and there was a question. So slavery is good or bad?
Yeah, that's a controversial topic because...
of course, there was some examples very interesting from the ethical point of view. For example, somewhere in Africa, or maybe in Latin America, there was a very hard and tough environment for living and working, and some woman was taken from there, and she became like a waitress in Europe.
A waitress in a restaurant in America.
Maybe not the waitress. She was cleaning in the house, So like
yes.
And she started to live in a much better condition, in much better environment. Her job wasn't so hard, because before it, she was probably working on the big field under the very hot sun, and it was really tough environment and conditions. So in this case, is slavery good or bad? So it's like, you know, everything is very relative, but sometimes it seems like bad somewhere is good for another place.
Yes,
And
I like your way of thinking. You know, some people have this black and white thinking. It's either, you know, black or white, good or bad, but usually there is, you know, there's a little bit of good in something bad, and usually there's a little bit of good in something bad.
yeah, so it's just a short, you know, illustration how things could looks different from different point of view. And because of it, if we will think about robotics and what can it bring, and not only robotics but also advanced robotics equipped with artificial intelligence, and we will talk about it later in even deeper. But in some way, it can bring to the humanity this new level of freedom where people shouldn't work physically at all. Yeah. So, and now we also have this revolution that also can relieve people from mental work as well. So of course it's a different new world where, so, oh, what will we do then? But in some way it's bring us this opportunity. But of course, as the world is not so simple, and the most in this capitalistic world, it's not bad, just like it is right now. I mean, that's those who have this technology, of course, will earn benefits as the holders of this technology. So, so this new technology should be also distributed in a proper way, so people can benefit, all the people can benefit from it. So, but this is another part of the story. Let's focus first on robotics and artificial intelligence and how it can, you know, revolutionize our reality. So yeah, just an example. And before we will start our conversation, don't forget to like, subscribe, and write some comments. What do you think about robotics and artificial intelligence? What kind of thoughts do you have? What kind of questions do you have? Just, yeah, feel free to ask any questions in the comments below.
Yeah, and Artem, I kind of I keep thinking about these robots, and I still am not sure if if I like them or or I'm not quite sure. You see, for example, let's imagine I want to make a really good cup of coffee. And a really good cup of coffee, probably kind of $5. And I can even enjoy making it for myself. And every so the question, do I need a $5 million robot to make me a cup of coffee? I can make it myself. But also every time, I like to experiment a little bit with the flavor. So every time I make it, it's a little bit in a little bit different way. So it can get frustrating, like explaining to my robot every time that I want a cup a little bit bigger or a little bit hotter or a little bit more milk. So then it's gonna be a very expensive cup of coffee. What are the real areas of application for these robots in the economy?
Very good example, but I also not sure that making coffee with very advanced robot is the best performance. So right now, every coffee machine is also a robot, but it's like specialized robot for making coffee, and not every robots are looking like humanoids. They could be very different. One of my favorite robots in my house is the robot that's cleaning the apartment.
Dust? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So vacuum cleaner. It's one of my favorite, and children also like it very much and my wife like it very much. I bought it when my third son was born. I decided, okay, now it's time for this kind of robot, so it will help my wife, in house. Because now she will spend even more time with kids, so it will help her a lot. So because of it, and dishwashing machine is also a robot. Washing machine for clothes is also a robot. Dryer, also a robot. It's just different kinds of robots. So in fact, we have like many kinds of robots, and yeah, probably for now, all these equipment is just programmed. So what can artificial intelligence bring additionally is that, for example, we will put for some specific amount of clothes. So and we don't need to program it at all. So we don't need even to set the program, because the artificial intelligence can measure the weight, maybe somehow identify what kind of clothes it is. So you don't need even to set the program. So it can do everything automatically, and artificial intelligence will just make it better and better with the time. So the same with dishwasher, probably if you have not so many, so it just will, even simplify the processes. The same with this vacuum cleaner. It also, now it has just some program, but artificial intelligence will help, to detect some blockers, and to make decision what is the best way to avoid this blocking object in the room, for example. So yeah, it can just bring new advanced abilities for this kind of equipment. And of course, yeah, the price shouldn't be dramatically higher. And I believe, artificial intelligence will be, so now it seems like we think about artificial intelligence in the way like it will be like a super intelligence. But I suppose it's one of the application. It's just one of the application. In general, I believe that artificial intelligence is just another kind of application that will just adopt to the environment and will be embedded to some equipment. And of course, what's important, what is the base level of this artificial intelligence that will be embedded into this equipment. Because I believe that sometimes we don't need to have an internet connection, to run every equipment. Sometimes it's just necessary. And in some way, this kind of artificial intelligence could be more efficient because it will be just autonomous. But very, very like little application. I mean, very the scope of this application will be very narrow. It will not be everything. It will be just a specific task. So we'll see. So
yeah, that sounds interesting. You see, I guess most people have, you know, like they have like maybe one friend. They have a friend they can play tennis with. So they have, you know, people maybe have a friend who likes playing tennis, so they play tennis. And
yeah.
maybe the person has another friend who likes to speak about history and philosophy. So they invite this friend for a cup of tea and they speak about history and philosophy, but the friend who speaks about history and philosophy, he doesn't play tennis. Yeah. And so this artificial intelligence sounds like this, all these different characteristics will be combined in one machine. But Artem, I have a little question. And I guess many of our viewers encountered this situation in their life. So, for example, a clever, smart, and talented IT developer applies for a job, and at a job interview, human resources manager says, you see, you are overqualified, you are too smart. You see, we need in our company, you know, we need a person for this specific task. And we don't want this engineer to understand how, you know, the whole company, how the company works. And now if we hire, you know, if we hire a really smart person, he will understand everything. So the same with artificial intelligence. You see, it's going to be so smart that people will be, you know, will be a little bit afraid to have it at a company, because it will be so smart, it will figure out everything. It will be dangerous for people. Some people will be losing their jobs because this artificial intelligence will figure this robot with artificial intelligence will figure out everything. We don't know what he is going to do.
Yeah, these concerns are the biggest right now from those who works with artificial intelligence. And yeah, I believe that some concerns are
justified.
Yeah, justified. And one of the reason is that if you know this story about Garry Kasparov and the chess game, so yeah, in some way, artificial intelligence became very, very advanced. And what also the Bill Gates said not so long time ago, that's it will be when we will have like super intelligence, and just imagine that it will create its own goals. Yeah, so this is something that we just not ready to deal with, because you know. But in other way, probably it will unite humanity even better in our humankind history, because that's how we have to compete with artificial intelligence. And when we are separated, then we are weaker. So when we are united, we can, you know, it's like artificial superintelligence and human superintelligence. So yeah, we'll see. The history is, you know,
a little bit unpredictable.
Yeah. But in some way, we already discussed something like this before. So yeah, I really recommend people to watch our previous episodes about artificial intelligence. But in applied to the robotics, so if it will be like very intelligent robot, like an android in in all these sci-fi books and movies. So yeah, it could be very good assistant. It could be even like a friend, if you like. So I don't see something bad in it, and it just we can be scared, but I believe it's like a computer, like a smartphone, like a calculator before. It could be just another kind of tool, some kind of tool, but more than just a tool. It will be something with what you can iterate, and it will be just another level of interaction. And of course, if it will be intelligent enough, it can be even more autonomous. And I believe that's like with the kids, we are responsible how we raise kids. In the same way, we are responsible how we raise robots and what we will teach them. Robots were with artificial intelligence. So yeah, we'll see.
And Artem, how do you think how do you think managers will communicate with these robots, with artificial intelligence, and how, when at the beginning, when, first computers were created, so people communicated with the computer. There was many people, probably many of our viewers don't remember this. So there was some like a tape made of paper, quite a long one, and there was some and there were some holes in the tape. And if there is a hole, maybe it means 1, and there is a no hole means 0. And so people prepare this instruction for the computer, and there's like there's this this roll, and then the computer reads this tape, and then the computer understands, if you can say that, instructions, what it has to do. So what about now? How managers will communicate? Because as I understand, these robots with artificial intelligence, they will have managers. How managers will communicate with these robots with artificial intelligence, and will they be able to communicate with each other? Will they use radio or?
Interesting question. But the answer will be in a slightly different style. There are really interesting animations how artificial intelligence is trained, and there was like it was like a 3D environment, like some space, and there was like some figures, like some mobs. It was like a huge.
So some like cartoon creatures.
Cartoon creatures.
Space.
And there they were, trying to do something in this environment. So how artificial intelligence is trained? You just set the goal, what should be accomplished, and you just give some tools, what can you do in this environment, and that's it. And then
some neural networks
it just try, you know,
different things.
I like, you know, very from the mathematics, very best comparison is combinatorics, when we have just some amount of numbers and we can create different combination with these numbers. And the same with this environment, and Neuralink just trying, you know, to find the combination of some interactions that bring you to some result, and only the result is a measure of success. So it can do anything. Yeah. So in this way, of course, if there are no like ethical measures of security,
limitations, or
yeah, so that's how, you know, this program just don't know what is good, what is bad, and it just trying to do whatever it can in this environment. So, but let's talk about the mechanics at first. So it just try, you know, to every possible combination and try to reach the success, a successful result. And as more performance you have in your computational, as your computational power, as more combination and faster you can try all these combinations. And that's what makes this technology so efficient, you know, as it just try everything and try very fast. So it seems that like it try, you know, to calculate every possible combination ever existed in this environment. So when we talk about robots, it is the same, you know. What, for example, this, you know, very industrial robots, they can, you know, this like hands, they can move in different ways, you know. They have some, you know, some movements and some manipulations. So, and you said, okay, you have to do something, and this robot try, you know, to do any kind of movement just to, you know, to make some task successful. That's it. So at first it can be very weird, you know, because it's try every unsuccessful combination at first maybe, and then it, you know, try with every try, it's getting better and better and better and better. So in the end, it can, you know, find some solutions that will bring you to success. And this is, so at first hand, you can try, you know, to program it, but here, you know, like what could be faster? To try every possible combination or to create a program that will do some goal. So it's just another kind of, you know, of solution. And of course, it's just different way. So
Artem, I come across this expression, machine learning.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it something that you have just explained? Is it like, you know, this expression trial and error?
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
it is machine learning.
Exactly. You know, I remember my first classes of computer science in my lyceum, and sometimes my solution was very unexpected for my teachers.
Teacher or lecturer, instructor.
You know, I was very I was trying to do I always, it was my, like, you know, like kind of trolling. I was all the time finding a different solution for the very standard task. And they were like surprised because it works properly, but it's different
Very
from
unexpected, very unexpected.
what they were teaching. You know, they were like teaching, okay, this is a, like some kind of solution, and it seems like we have just to repeat in slightly different, you know, with slightly different parameters. But I have done it in a very different way,
Unusual,
and they like
unconventional way.
for them it was like error in the mind, like, oh, it doesn't, it like it's not what we have as a solution, but it works. So error, what we have to do. So and it was very funny. And one of the solution, for example, how to find a correct answer to some even mathematical um, task.
Task or problem, yeah.
Yeah, problem. You just create some iteration, and you just try every possible answer. And okay, is it correct? Is it correct? No, 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 no. And then yes. And that's how you can find the solutions. The same is very similar is this machine learning. It's just, you know, trying a very different combination, but you can adjust this machine learning with some, okay, if you became closer to the successful result with this combination, probably you should try something in this direction.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
so
close combinations.
yeah, because for example, if it's like a very simple mathematical equation, then you probably shouldn't you know,
I
try
see.
different
For
combinations.
some, it depends on the task. So maybe
Yeah,
for some task you can have like analytical solution. So that's easy, you save time. But for others, maybe using iterations is faster than to find a.
yeah, it's not only about iteration, it's also about you know, this LLM, yeah, large language model, or it could be a multi-parameter model. Like, you know, there could be so many parameters, or maybe just a lot of parameters. So it's like an equation with a very, very big amount of
variables, a lot of variables and
variable.
parameters.
Yeah, and because you don't even know what is the correct answer, no, you know what you want to achieve, but you don't know even closely what kind of parameters should be, and you just try, and then you know, like trying to come closer to the successful result. This is how it works.
Machine learning, yes. Well, thank you. That's because for me it was a mystery. What is machine learning? And Artem, what you see? It seems like we have all the ingredients. You see, there's some people already use some elements of artificial intelligence, and we have some industrial robots. Why is it not ready yet? What are some current challenges, or you know, this expression like bottlenecks? So maybe they need, you know, if it's a robot, maybe some of these small motors are necessary. For example, if we use a printer, and as far as I know, when we use a new printer, we need a special program which is called driver. That it helps, as I understand, it helps computer to communicate with the printer. So as far as I understand, every little motor, like if it moves an arm, it needs a driver. So what are some current challenges? Maybe some new materials need needs to be developed, or some algorithms, or maybe, you see, if this robot with artificial intelligence gradually will accumulate a lot of knowledge, so it sounds like it has to carry this server, server with a big hard drive. Or maybe this server will be going to be a remote server. Yeah, but how it will communicate with the server? So what do you think are some current challenges? Why scientists cannot get it ready now?
Can you say more precisely what do you mean? So why what?
Yeah, so you see, I watched a short presentation. They say by this guy who worked, I guess, for Google, as father of artificial intelligence, and he said maybe in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But what are they going to do for 5 years? Why is it not ready now? What are the challenges? I mean, if you
You mean combining artificial intelligence with robotics?
yes.
Okay.
Why is it not ready now? And
I just think that for now it's like more experimental mode. Like it's still in the phase of research, and for now a lot of industrial factories are using robotics a lot, but for now it's just a very typical solution, and sometimes it just adjusted, and yeah, it seems like artificial intelligence is just a different way. It's not, maybe it's not so good for typical standard procedures. So artificial intelligence is mostly, right now it's mostly using. So for example, there could be some detail, and the precision of modern industrial robots are very, very high. But the problem is, this sometimes it's this detail where you should do some work with robot, it just should be, adjusted very precise. And sometimes the problem is not the program what to do, but where to start. And artificial intelligence now mostly used for their digital vision. So it detects like, okay, where is this place where I should start? So it's like, a very precise, navigation to start the standard routine. And yeah, so these kind of processes are very efficient right now. But I believe that artificial intelligence is more important in the areas where you don't do the same tasks, but where you do a very different task all the time. Like, for example, in surgery, you cannot do the same operation every time, because
with all the patients,
every body is unique. So you cannot make the same cut with this. Now we have a very precision surgery robots and manipulators that do a very precision operations, even better than the doctor with
human surgeons.
Yeah, even better than human surgeons. But sometimes it's more important where and how to make this cut. So we discussed it in our previous episode with Sam Mitra, that with this Vision Pro, you can like it can help and assist you where to do this very precision cut, and it will just help to enhance it. And of course, it can be combined with robots that can do it instead of human surgeon. Of course, right now we are not ready to, to give this responsibility to robots, because right now, when we are talking about life, it's and the health and the body, so probably we are not ready to give this function to robots, but somewhere in the future. But when we are talking about some industrial processes, probably when you have to do some operations, it's not very typical. For example, garbage sorting. This is very good
example. So like for recycling, there's a lot of garbage. How to sort it? Yes.
Yeah. For example, I don't believe that some people really like this kind of job because it smells not very good sometimes. Maybe.
But also people probably get tired because it's very monotonous.
Monotonous
job.
Tired,
like
boring.
Repeating.
Yeah, it's boring. It could be unhealthy. It could be
attention and people's attention. They get tired.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be toxic,
Yes.
So of course, for this kind of job, it's even better to have some
very good
that will do this job instead of people. And even in agriculture, now we have a really good solution, like robots for killing some insects, for example, with lasers. There
really?
are some carrot just moving over the field, and it detects insects, and it just making laser shot very, very fast.
Wow!
And it's very it's much better.
So it's like mostly automatic, so it doesn't need.
It's automatic
from a human.
It's automatic. It's autonomous. Yes, it takes some energy, but it's much more organic because you don't use any chemicals for it. It just
and it doesn't get tired.
Insects, and it's just some case or some robots that then gather the crop. It's also a great solution. It's very precise as well. So. And I believe this kind of applications are really great. I don't think that a lot of people like this monotonous job. So why not? And this is where artificial intelligence is really good for usage, as it just learning all the time and detecting how to gather all these different kinds of fruits or vegetables, etc. So
Artem, it sounds like it sounds like it requires considerable investments to develop these machines. What kind of companies are investing in, if we have this information, what companies are investing in using artificial intelligence for robots? It cannot be a small farm. It's I guess only big companies can afford it.
Of course, as everything in capitalistic world, big companies are just counting the expenses, and nowadays it's becoming sometimes cheaper to buy some robots instead hiring some people. So it's just an economical reason why they invest into it, because as you said, robots are not tiring. Robots, so of course you have to maintain robots as well, and this is what will create jobs for people. So robots cannot repair themselves yet, but people probably will just but in some ways much like way better jobs than to be on the sun all the day, or maybe it will be raining, I don't know. So you can do it in some garage, and you can maintain the robot, and then when it's ready you can just release it to continue its job. So so mostly big corporations are investing into it, and to decrease the expenses.
So you see, when we are happy when our life is kind of simple, not very complicated. So in general, do you think that these robots with artificial intelligence will simplify people's life, and there will be more people will be happier? Or, as you said at the beginning, or maybe some big companies will benefit from using these smart robots, and it won't improve people's life. So what do you think in general will using these clever robots with artificial intelligence, will it make in general people happier?
I don't think that only big corporation can create these kind of technologies. For example, in hackerspace in Kiev, we were making these simple robots by ourselves, like CNC machines, 3D printers, 3D scanners. So some kind of simple robotics, and it doesn't take a lot of resources to create it. And if you're talking about machine learning and artificial intelligence, it's also not so complicated technology in the core, but to make it really advanced, you have to do a lot of experiments, and you just need to have the proper environment to execute all these procedures. It's like like in car industry, when they producing cars, they making these crash tests to understand
safety, to study safety of this car, safety features.
But except this kind of test, they also make a lot of different tests for engines, for electricity, for electrical circuits, for mechanical parts. So they aerodynamics. So they make a lot of tests during designing. And the same with artificial intelligence, you just have to make a lot of experiments to make your technology advanced. So of course, when you're like indie developer or engineer, you cannot create something in a big scale, but you can do some simple things, and sometimes it could be even advanced, but to scale it will be not easy.
Scale, it's expensive to scale it, but you can do experiments on smaller scale.
Yeah, when we are talking about industrial scale, enterprise scale, so of course you need to invest more to make it just available for bigger in a bigger scale. but it doesn't mean that people cannot do something by themselves. Yeah, of course, you need to have some skill, knowledge, and skills and resources. But I cannot say that's like a lot of resources.
Artem, I had a dream last night about a robot, and maybe I can share this dream with you, and maybe you can interpret it. I will appreciate that. So you see, it was my wife's birthday, and I had a really busy day, and so in my dream, my friend, he looked a little bit like you. I don't know, maybe, yeah, had this smart robot with artificial intelligence, and so he didn't mind, and so we decided to use this robot to deliver flowers to my wife. But it started raining. It rained in Kiev last night, and so I don't know what happened. Maybe a little bit of water somehow got under this robot's skin, and he, as I understood, he got short-circuited in the middle of the street. And then we need, so my wife got frustrated, and we needed 2 engineers to fix the robot, and then I needed to hire a human courier to deliver the flowers. Luckily, it was everything was fine in the end. So, do you have an idea what is the meaning? What is the meaning of this strange dream?
That engineer haven't invest enough time into.
It should be waterproof.
Yeah. For now, I believe we have enough good technologies, to protect electronic devices. It's just a matter of, I don't know, materials that you use and technologies that's used. Yeah. So for now, for example, Tesla cars, or any kind of electrical cars, they also can, work during rains and when it's snowing. So yeah, I don't think it's a problem nowadays. Yeah, but it just means that somebody just forget about waterproof protection.
Yeah, so also someone cut corners.
Or maybe it was the competitors. It's still using human labor.
Yes, maybe. Yeah, that's also, you see, that's also some, maybe. So these robots will be, they use electricity, and maybe it's possible to if there's a strong magnetic field, maybe it can jam those electric signals. Anyway, so Artem, do we know some, some examples? Who is ahead of the pack? What are the most successful robots? So now we know that there are robots that look a little bit like dogs, and they very maneuverable. Somehow they can keep balance, and they can run. They can walk slowly, they can run fast, and they can carry heavy load. Do we know the best? But maybe they're not very smart. I don't know. What do we know the best examples of using artificial intelligence for robots? using like smart robots?
As I know, it's mostly used in many robotic system, but for different solutions, and mostly now it's using, for computer vision, for navigation, maybe some
Recognition.
maybe some precision manipulation where you are not sure how exactly it should be done, maybe some balancing system. And of course, one of the most advanced is Boston Dynamics. Boston Dynamics, yeah. But a lot. If we are talking about robots, by the way, how do you think which country is the most robotized in the world?
Maybe Japan.
I will give you some
Indications.
Some information. How to say it? How is measured this parameter? So it's units, robot units per 10,000 employees. So how do you think which country have the highest rate of using robots?
Maybe traditionally, maybe Japan and Germany.
Okay, Japan is third, Germany is fourth. Who is on the first and second?
But it cannot be the United. Maybe South Korea.
Yes, correct. South Korea is number first, and Singapore is second. United
it's good to know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Seventh place takes 7th place. On the 5th place is Sweden, and then Hong Kong. After United States, Taiwan, Denmark, and China.
That's very interesting. Artem, maybe you can leave this link in the description to the video.
Yeah.
So maybe some people would, kind of it's interesting information.
Yeah.
What countries are most advanced in this field?
Okay, I will send it to you. Yeah, and we will put it to the video description. So why I decided to share this information, because if you will look at this chart, so mostly traditionally those countries have a good robotics who producing a lot of machines. So robots are mostly used in automatization of production processes. So yeah, South Korea is one of the biggest producers of cars and other equipment. So yes, Singapore is a bit surprising for me, but I believe it's somehow related, as Singapore is a big
maybe manufacturer of computers or mobile phones.
Yeah, but it also a very large and intensive logistics center. So probably a lot of robots use
warehouses,
yeah, or some so I believe somehow it's connected to it as well. Yeah, Japan is traditionally very intense producer of cars and electronics. Electronics is also, as you know, where you have very precision.
As far as I understand, the robots put those little parts together in the phone, and they should put them precisely in the precise place.
Yeah, because precision, it takes a lot of concentration, and when of course it's small, as smaller it is, as we humans with our hands sometimes cannot make it so precisely. So of course,
Yeah, so especially so the hands maybe tremble a little bit, and you need very good vision, and good coordination. Artem, I you, as far as I know, you work with scientists and you work with IT developers, and you work with people who use artificial intelligence, and you like psychology. So what can you tell us about what is special about these people, like scientists and IT developers on emotional level? So you see, as far as I understand, during the day, they have to fix mistakes of this robot or a computer program all the day. So they have to, so most of the day they try to find the mistake and find the mistake and understand how to fix it. They try to fix it, and sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not. Sometimes they try to fix it and make another mistake. So what can you tell about their personality? So maybe, and then eventually they fix the mistake. They go to the little bit to the next level, and it's a little boost of dopamine, and they're a little happy. Yeah. So what can you tell us about these people? So maybe they are, they are frustrated most of the day because they try to fix this thing, and they try. It's like they said this Edison. He carried out about 1,000 experiments before he managed to improve this light bulb. Yes. So are they frustrated most of the day? And then finally they fixed it, and they they are happy for 15 minutes, and then they hit the next mistake.
You mean those people who design and maintain the robotics?
I think they are psychologically they are similar people, like people who work in science, and IT developers, and people who develop this artificial intelligence algorithm. They must be very patient people, because it's more difficult than to raise a child. Maybe.
Yes, I think you just a bit mix the concept of artificial intelligence and neural networks. In some way, it's just different from the traditional program, because programs is like a function that should solve some problem. But neural networks, they just works differently. It's like okay, let's try to compare it with kids, because yeah, it's somehow could be compared. As kids just trying to, for example, they try to learn how to walk, so they trying to stand and fall, stand and fall. Then they try to make some step and also fall. So, and it happens a lot of times, but kids very emotional, so they can cry. They can, robots are not crying. Robots just, trying, and then they finally became successful. But the way they learning is a very similar to how children also becoming more advanced in their bodies and with their minds and emotions. So somehow this artificial intelligence learning and machine learning is more similar to what we do with our kids, but we just, remove the emotional part. And the one thing that you just need to have is time. Yeah, of course, you can just you can adjust some parameters. Maybe it can become faster, maybe it can be longer, maybe you need to put another parameter, and maybe you need to justify the final result. But in general, you just need to have time and maybe more data, for these neural networks. You just need to have a lot of data, or it could be some existing data, or it should be generated data. So this is why now this popular phrase, generative AI. So it just generate, and people are just, okay, this is good result, this is bad results. People, deciding which result is good and which is not. So what people feel, I don't know. They just happy that finally they have this result.
Yes, yeah. So what I mean, as far as I understand, these people, you worked with scientists a little bit, and I worked with scientists a little bit. They're persistent people because they have to basically fix mistakes the whole day. Yeah, and they need to be persistent and devoted people. Yeah. And also then they they tear out their hair, like, where is this mistake, how can I improve this algorithm, and this is what they think about the whole day. Yes, Artem, by the way, so you see, there's one view or theory that technology drives economy. And so in the economy, and literally they call them waves. So you see, there was the wave of computers, and then there was a wave of the internet and mobile phones. And when there is when there is lack of new inventions, the economy slows down. And so this theory and these waves, they're called Kondratiev waves. And maybe this artificial, and sometimes people ask, what is the next wave? What is the next wave in technology? So maybe this using artificial intelligence for robots is going to be like the next wave for global economy that will drive global economy. So what it's not easy to make predictions. So how do you think it will develop?
Definitely, artificial intelligence now advancing a lot of industries and areas, and robotics is also one of the industry where artificial intelligence is advancing a lot of processes. As I said, mostly it's used for computer vision, or some process adjustment, or for those processes that not very, easy to program in the classic way. So also, I believe it will be used in many areas where we have a lot of data and where we have to, to find some patterns. And so, for example, we have a lot of data, and especially with these big, large hadron collider, it just generates a lot of data, and sometimes the problem the problem is to analyze this data.
Yes.
So, and now this data is open for many scientists, and it seems like, okay, you just do with this data whatever you want. But there is so much data that it's becoming so hard to process it.
I understand. So for a human being, it doesn't make any sense, but these computers have more processing power, so they can make sense.
More than that, it's just like what benefit I see in advancement is that, okay, you cannot do by yourself a lot of work, but at least you can set the parameters, what kind of work you want to do, and you just program artificial intelligence to do it instead of you, and it will just relentlessly do the same job, and will try to find some useful piece of information for you, and that's how you will enhance your ability to do more job for you instead of you, but it still will be your
assistant, like your clever, your smart assistant, powerful assistant.
And
I like this idea. So you set you set a goal and maybe some criteria, and then this artificial intelligence it has more processing power, so it tries all different approaches to achieve this goal within those parameters.
So what I want to say is that, for example, physically you can do some job, but just imagine, okay, right now we're using maybe one computer efficiently, but maybe later we will use so powerful computational force that will be like hundreds or thousands of traditional computers that will do some kind of workers or virtual workers that will do this job for you. And that's what is happening right now, but in a slightly different way. But it will be like a standard, and this is how we can probably find more and create more discoveries, so it will be just, it's like, it's like when we discovered some physical phenomena, and we became able to see infrared, like thermal images, when we became able to see some spectral pictures and like infrared, ultrasound. So those spectrums that we haven't able
to see, so we can with our eyes.
We couldn't hear it or see it before, but with this enhancement, we became able to do it. The same with this kind of technologies, and probably some robots can do for us instead of us different jobs that we cannot do, but they will do. And so it's a new tool, like a stick, a wooden stick, or whereas stone was the first tool for
monkey.
humans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like your comparison to these senses. Senses, they can broaden the spectrum of what we can see and what we can hear. But artificial intelligence, as I understand it, it takes us a lot of time to try everything. So we don't have enough time, but it has faster the processing power, so it can do more of this trials and errors much faster. And yeah, okay, I like that comparison. Artem, have we got some information from the viewers or of what topics they would like to discuss in the nearest future?
Yeah, it seems we already discussed the most interesting part about this robotics and artificial intelligence, and what else could be? Yeah, let ask our audience what they want to hear.
Also, maybe people would like to propose some topics for future garage shows.
Yeah, that's a really great idea. So, of course, we are mostly talking about modern trends in tech and robotics and electronics and hardware, software. So yeah, it will be something related to it. But of course, we are happy to discuss those.
I guess the idea to use modern technologies to make people happy and to make some money together. Yes. So Artem, it looks like we have covered most of our questions or aspects of this topic for today. Please look at the suggestion that people make, and we will make up our mind about our next topic.
Yeah, so don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and make your feedback in the comments below. Suggest your topics, suggest your guests. We are happy to hear and read from you.
Yeah, thank you, Artem. I liked your ideas about about machine learning and so that's an exciting. In what countries this robotics is developing faster. So thank you for your ideas from your experience.
Yeah, thank you, Alex, as well, and have a nice evening. So see you next.
Yes, yes. Stay in good spirits, and please, everyone, send Artem your suggestions, and see you at the next Startup Garage show.
Bye bye. Have a nice weekend.